Hi, I'm Tony, this is Slack, welcome to Smog Vlog. Today we're going to be reviewing the Nautilus X.
Right, back in the room. Welcome back, guys. Yeah, like we said, it's the Nautilus X from Aspire. It's a teeny tiny tank. This is the limited edition one, which is in the rainbow / oil on water colour affair. This was sent over for review for us from our buddies at newworldvaping.com. Do be sure to check them out. But without further ado, let's dive down for an unboxing. Right, let's unbox the Nautilus X from Aspire. So, quick tour around the outside of the box. You've got this lovely sort of bobble affair going on here where you can see your device straight away. Obviously this is the rainbow, or as I like to call it, oil on water colour, limited edition one. Come around the side, you've got the sort of standard Aspire stuff with a scratch and sniff there, a little bit of blurb about the Nautilus X, its features, and some general copyright and usage information on the bottom. So without further ado, let's dive inside. Take this out, put him to one side. So, spare tank glass, it's a 2mm tank, and a spare coil. Now these coils, as you can see, have sort of quite a restrictive airflow, which I was a little bit surprised about after them releasing the Cleto. I was expecting a bit more. Seeing these coils from the side, these look like a mini Cleto type coil. However, yeah, that changes everything. Also, you've got a secondary airflow round here, which is part of the top airflow system for the tank itself. And the other thing inside is your standard warning about leaving it stand with juicing for a couple of minutes to avoid burning your coils. So, up close with the device itself, you've got obviously this frosted glass here rather than the clear glass that's in the box, with the Aspire sort of on it. Up here, the drip tip, it's very small, you know, it's not a big drip tip, but there's not a lot of airflow going on. You can see that airflow out for the hit there. That's actually on the coil as we just showed you. The airflow in comes further down and it is adjustable here. It's top airflow, there's nothing down the bottom. You know, no airflow to worry about here. Coming down the bottom, you've got a sort of goldy looking 510 pin that protrudes slightly, and even the 510 threads have this sort of oil on water effect going on. Looks good. Nautilus X on the bottom, the fact that it's the limited edition, and then your number and the standard guff. So coming inside to have a look at the device. Top off. Glass off. And here's our coil, should we wish to replace it. Obviously there's our centre pin there, sticks through nice, makes good contact. With the other one, there's no airflow in here, so this is going to be sort of airtight basically. So you've got this O-ring here to sort of stop your juice leaking into this sort of sealed area underneath, and this grommet to hold your tank glass on. Now the threads, they're very nice. Feels good. All of it feels nice. It sort of fits together well. It's good quality as you'd expect with Aspire stuff. Also, it's turned up very clean, though we will obviously give it the mandatory wash before we juice her up and get ready to go. Airflow adjustment, as we said, done at the top here. Okay, airflow adjustment you can just about make out here. So as we turn this, there we go, we're opening our airflow now. It's very limited airflow, that. One on each side, just the two. So, you know, this isn't going to be a mega airy tank like the Cleto. This is going to have a much more restrictive draw. So top airflow coming in here sort of through the coil and then back up through this hole in the coil here. Like I said, it's pretty clean, but we are going to give it a clean and then see what it's got. So, back to the studio.
Back to the studio.
And welcome back in the room. Thank you for that average unboxing Slack. Right, first things first about this tank. What we'll note from the outside of the packaging is that it's designed as a mouth to lung tank. It comes with two coils, a 1.5 ohm and a 1.8 ohm. Okay guys, so the 1.8 ohm coil is designed to be used around 12 to 16 watts. The 1.5 ohm is designed to be used around 16 to 22 14 to
Sure,
22.
yeah, somewhere like
in
that.
that neck of the woods.
Yeah. There is a little bit of a discrepancy between, the core that comes with it is clearly written on there, 14 to 22 watts. However, on the website and other places, they're now saying 20 watts. They may have changed their coil, they may have just re-rated them to stop those dry hits coming in. Now, the first thing you go to think, well, 14 to 22, I don't vape that low. And I tell you what, I wouldn't have bought a tank that had coils that low and this tiny little thing. But actually, it's alright. I'm seriously impressed for how low the power is. Now, bear in mind, when you're vaping at really low wattage, your battery lasts you a lot longer. It's just logic, and you get a hell of a lot of use out of it, particularly if you're in a double battery mod. It's just like, I haven't charged this week. It is really good. It is really good, and the performance of it is a lot better than the specs suggest it is, if that makes sense. I'm actually quite impressed with how well it performs.
Okay, so out of the box, inside the box, you'll get the Nautilus X. It also comes with a second glass. You've got a frosted glass with Aspire written on the outside, which you probably saw in the unboxing. You'll also get the clear glass as well. Also included in the box is the 1.5 and the 1.8 ohm coil, and it's got the limited edition look to it, which is that lovely oil effect.
Yeah, as well as that, it comes in, I think, black, silver and sort of gold colours. I'm pretty sure are the three normal non-limited edition colours. It looks pretty decent in all of them, to be honest, but this one's cool. This takes me back to my Kanga Evo twisty job days, and I like it. It's a Marmite feature. You either go like that or hate it, but it's done well. It looks good.
Also worth noting, on the website they're also plugging the fact that they're making an adapter and a larger size tank for this, so you'll be able to upgrade it to the full 5mm,
4mm,
around 5mm,
4mm exactly.
Or 4.
Yeah, it's the same glass as the Coilito, but where the coils are smaller in here, it gives you a 4mm capacity. Also, it comes with an extra chimney to make it fit. But just to be clear, that isn't included in the package. That's a separate buy me if you're interested in that. And I could be interested in that. 2mm capacity, it's not huge, but where you're not burning it as hard, like if this was like a crown coil in here at 2mm, you'd be like, well, that's about 3 vapes and it's gone. Whereas in this, you get more life out of your juice, if that makes sense, because you're not getting as much vape. But that's fine. It's not what it's designed for.
Definitely making your juice go further, both electronic and gooey.
Well, talking of gooey, what I have found really good with this is it does take thick liquids. Now, I was a bit concerned, when you see the sort of spec of the coils, these 1.5, 1.8 ohm coils, both of them take like 80-20 juice without issue. I'm running I think 70-20, might even be 80-20 in here at the moment, and it just works really well. For the amount of vapour you get and the power it's sort of running at, you get really good flavour. You certainly can get better flavour from bigger tanks that kick more and where it's chucking tons of clouds, but relatively speaking, this has very good flavour, and I think Aspire have done really well with the design of this. Okay, seeing as this review is kind of wandering all over the place for us, we're usually quite well organised and sort of do things in a sort of rigid format. And we're just going crazy, we're just like freestyling, so we're going to go back a bit, and we'll start at the top and work down. And the first thing is the drip tip. You have this little Delrin tube, you can't see it, it's so small. Look at it, it's teeny.
That's great. Hold it up to the camera and so it's all blurred and they still can't see it.
Yeah, but they can see that black blob, that is it.
Guys, just think Cleito,
but micro.
Smaller.
Yeah, and talking of the Cleito, that fit is the same. You've got this black rubber washer around the top that holds the thing on. And it goes on only one way round, apparently. Unlike the Cleito, though, you're not going to be able to fit your own drip tip on this, in it. You can't pull this bit off and just use it. It is very small. It's small because it's designed for that mouth to lung hit. You can, though, that said, with it wide open, you can, if you're alright with a bit of a restrictive, you can do a direct lung hit. I have been doing that, but I don't mind the restrictive hits. If you like it really, really airy and you like to breathe your vape like, you're just breathing air, no resistance, then it won't do that. But you know, you can get the sort of direct lung hit out, which leads us nicely on to airflow. The airflow is adjusted by these two tiny little holes on this sort of plate on the top, which is just above where you unscrew the top of the tank to get in and change it. Now the airflow design on this is quite clever. So it's similar to the Goodyear and a couple of other things, but where they've been crap, this actually works really well. I had reservations again. I had so many reservations about this tank, you know, but it's just sort of proven me wrong, which I really like. So, you know, when you have this U airflow, or whatever Aspire are calling it, where the air comes in the top, goes down and then back and through, that often creates like a siphoning effect, and once you get a siphoning effect going, you just end up with it gurgling away and you can't really take a hit, and you end up using it like a straw basically to just drink e-juice, and it's not good. With this, none of that. You know, when you change the coil, if you sort of muck about with changing the coil, opening the tank, you get a bit of a gurgle for one or maybe two hits, but it doesn't spit, which is really good. And after those couple of hits, it dries up and you're back to sort of a gurgle-free experience, which is really good. Another thing that they've marketed this on is the fact that it's leak-free. So far, 0 leaks. It's really sort of mess-free and leak-free, and because you don't have that bottom airflow, you know, you don't end up with all the sort of condensation around the bottom leaking out after time. I find that a welcome relief, really, after, you know, so many tanks that I love, you know, but, you know, I tend to sort of do the blowout first, and yeah, just end up just sort of, you know, juicing out the bottom.
Juicing out the bottom, no less.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so moving down the tank, through the tank glasses, which we've already said, you get the frosted one with Aspire stamped on it, and you also get that clear glass, which is very nice. Moving down further to the 510 connector, non-adjustable, goldy looking, flat plate, ever so slightly protrudes. Also interesting to note, the 510 is also part and parcel of the manufacture of the whole unit, so it is also rainbow coloured, or that oil effect colour, which is really nice. Okay, so general overview of this 22mm tank. From the top down to the bottom 510, it measures 45?
Yeah, 45mm.
Mil, which is fucking dripper territory, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tiny. It is the size of like an old dripper, you know, little 22mm like Diddy one, which is great. You know, we've seen so many 2mm tanks, you know, 2mm to fit in with the TPD. But by the time you got massive airflow on the bottom and a big sort of drip tip and chimney and everything else, they're still the sort of same size as the old 5mm tanks we've been using. So, but this is really tiny, nice and lightweight, but fairly solid. You know.
Okay guys, very quickly, we're just going to dive down now and show you a very quick coil change from the 1.5 to the 1.8.
Or something.
Or maybe around the other way, who knows? Let's go down.
Well, okay, we're going to quickly show you a coil change. So yeah, it comes pre-fitted with the 1.8 ohm coil, but you also get the 1.5 ohm coil. So as it's quite a clever design for the coil change, I figured we'd give that a go. So without further ado, yeah, unscrew the top. Sorry, this is a bit awkward to show on camera, but yeah, comes with the territory. And we're in. Now, this is what's really cool over other types of tanks, where, you know, it's just awkward to change the coil. So here, you just grab the top. There's not really much to grab, but it's not a stiff resistance. And you're like, what are you doing, you crazy fool? You're unscrewing the coil. It's going to go. No, we're all good. So yeah, it goes down on your positive pin. However, when you screw it back in, most of that's going to come out, and e-juice doesn't conduct electricity, so we're all good. One thing that's good to do is a little bit of juice in the top. Yeah, that's with all coils, just to get it sort of wet through. I'm using Zeta Vape's Batterberry, which is one of my favourite finds from Vapour's Expo. Really lovely juice. Bit like Milkman, but yeah, only by description. Tastes very different, very nommy. And we'll get the core screwed in good. That's it. And while we're out here, I'm so nearly out of this juice. We'll just chuck another bit in here, just make sure we've got enough to get us through the rest of this review. Okay, that will have to do. We're going to be pouring the bottle out soon. So there we go. That is a coil change, and it's pretty mess free. You know, there's a little bit of juice on the top where you touch that old coil, but you know, my hands are pretty dry, little bit. But you know, compare that to some other tanks and coil changes, and yeah, it's doing pretty well. So the other thing we're going to need to do now, we have taken the coil out, and basically every time you unscrew the top, you're going to need to find your air hole and reopen that. There it is. It's really small, it's really hard to see. It's not the sort of thing you'd be able to do by sight when it's dark, you know, not like the bigger tanks like the Crown where it's really obvious where the air is. That little tiny hole there is it, and you know, it's fine in normal light, you can really easily see it, but you know, if it's a bit dark or anything, yeah, good luck with that. Just do it by feel, give it a suck, see how it feels for you. Right, so we should now be reading 0.16, and not entirely right, but you know, it's not far out. Now I find both the coils don't read exactly what they say they're supposed to be, but you know, this shouldn't be too much of a problem. But yeah, we're going to give this a moment to think about what it's done, soak up some juice, and we're going to give it a blast. Back to the studio.
Back to the studio.
Okay guys, we're going to go crazy now, because with this mouth to lung tank we are going to do a heat test.
Right, I'm going to close off the airflow a bit. We're at about 3/4 airflow, something like that. Just cause, you know, it gives it a sort of middle ballparky thing. If you haven't seen our heat test before, well, yeah, we back and forth and see how the tank holds up to it, how it wicks, how the flavour is, how the heat is, mainly. But yeah, let's do it. Yeah, look at that vapour. Okay, it's a fairly long hit, but you know, considering how, you know, gentle and delicate the coil is.
See, I don't think a heat test is right for this sort of tank. It's not.
It's not, but you know, if you're a heavy smoker and you're coming on to vaping and you want to know if it's going to keep up, we like to push it.
I suppose it would be good for you if you're transitioning. Like you've been doing mouth to lung for a while and you're probably getting into a direct lung sort of thing.
No, I'm starting to get a little bit of coil taste. I think we're probably going a little bit too quick for it to be comfortable. Well, it's no worse that go. It's not as good as, you know, if you leave it a bit, but it's not bad by any stretch.
For it just being a mouth to lung coil, I've got to say I'm really impressed with the clouds it's managing to produce.
Yeah, I mean, it's clouds and flavour, considering, I mean, the e-juice hasn't moved the entire review.
Considering this is the 1.8 ohm at 16 watts.
Yeah, the full 16 watts. As we vape a lot, we want it right up the top. Right, last one, I reckon. Now, the drip tip itself is cool as a cucumber. That Delrin drip tip. However, the tank glass is warm. The metal bit at the top, I'm just touching on my lips, a bit more sensitive for heat. The tank at the top, the metal bit, that is hot but not too hot. You're not going to burn yourself on it, but equally you notice when you touch it. I want to throw that down there. The base of it's warm but not as hot as the top, which is good because you don't want that heat travelling into your mod, though we were really sort of going for it, giving it a bit of a torture test there, so it's not something even I would do, sort of normal day-to-day vaping. Now, there was a slight flavour drop off throughout that, but it was minor. It was like a bit sort of coily, but not a coil hit like you would get on, say, a Crown again. Very different. It's just not quite as good as, you know, if you let it rest a bit. Yeah, and we're back. You know, it's performing adequately. So, and given that this is a thick juice, it's impressive.
Yeah,
I think for what it is. Again, like I said, looking at the specs of it, I wasn't expecting much from this, but actually using it, I've been quite impressed. might have come through in the video that I'm impressed. I'm not sure.
Putting the whole impressed thing to the side, what's important to take away from this is the fact that we're using the 1.8 ohm coils. The juice flow channels in those coils won't be very big, so juice absorption from a liquid that is probably quite high VG, so very gloopy, means that its absorption rate isn't as much as something that's heavier on the side of PG, which is a looser liquid. The important thing here is that you didn't get a dry hit, you didn't get a burn hit, nothing like that.
Yeah, I mean, it handled it well, the tank handled the heat well. So now we've done that, let's actually talk about the flavour from it. I've sort of alluded to it before. So I think it has good flavour, especially for what it is. However, it is not a proper flavour chaser tank. You know, it's not the best flavour out there. But comparing this, you know, I mean, if you're coming up to the Nautilus X from something like a disposable clearomizer, I think it's just a great step up from that. You know, the wicking is better, the ease of use is better, is a proper tank, and it's just great. You know, it's still got that sort of similar mouth to lung hit quality of it, but with more performance, and you can sort of do a bit more tweaking with your airflows and stuff. And flavour wise, yeah, it's really good compared to that. You know, I certainly wish that this would have been my first tank back in the day. You know, it's a good one.
Okay guys, we've reached that special stage in the show where we sum up by way of pros and cons, starting with the cons and ending on those ever so beautiful pros. First up.
Okay, first one is kind of a catch-22. This one is going to be the airflow. So it's not designed to be a big wide open airflow, but that may sort of put some vapours off. I kind of feel bad calling it up on airflow because it is designed to be what it is, and what it is good for that. And you know, it's a mouth to lung hitter, but you know, some people aren't going to like that. It's not going to be for everyone.
As well, he should feel bad because this is marketed solely as a mouth to lung tank.
Yeah, and for that it's brilliant. However, you know, I just feel that we need to mention it.
Next up on the cons list has got to be the drip tip. As with its bigger cousin, brother, distant relative, I don't know, the Cletus Solito tank, I didn't like the drip tip on that either. Just that pull off, put back on again. At least with the Solito you can sort of jerry rig it so you can, you know, get a standard drip tip in the top of it. This one, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I'm with Tony on this one. I hate this design of drip tip. However, in its defence, it's about the same size as a cigarette, you know, so if you're coming off smoking and getting into vaping, well done you. This is going to feel really familiar, you know, as well as obviously that tailorable airflow to sort of replicate what it's like smoking a cigarette, which is what this is designed for. But the drip tip, yeah, while it is terrible, I'm not a fan of the design. That Del ring keeps it nice and cool when the rest of the tank was getting hot. So if you had a big metal drip tip on there, that was going to start getting hot. This design actually works really well. So while it doesn't look pretty, and while it's something I don't like on principle, it actually works okay. And I think it fills that, you know, design requirement, you know, for basically cigarette transition. And I suppose the last one for me is going back to the airflow again. However, this time it's just, you can't really see it, you know, if it's poor lighting. It's again a minor thing, you know, because you can just feel what the airflow is. But every time you fill up the tank, which isn't that often, you know, you don't burn through your juice, but every time you fill up the tank you will have accidentally turned off your airflow or done something to it. So you do have to get it, and it's quite difficult to see. There's no indicator mark, you don't have two little dots to sort of show. It's just you look at the hole and try and find where the hole is. In good lighting it's fine. You did very well. But yeah, like I said, all of these are really minor points, you know, I think. And we are kind of nitpicking because that's kind of what we do. Without further ado, let's go to them beautiful pros.
Okay guys, the first pro that I've got is that finish, this limited edition, has come in with that oil effect on there. Like Slack said, I haven't had an oil effect tank since the Ego fucking years ago. I really liked them then, and I haven't actually seen something come to the market in that time that I thought, yeah, I'd really like that. But you know, this came and we unboxed it, and Jesus, I think seeing it on camera isn't the same as seeing it in real life. It's like the cars that you see with the flip paint, you know, driving down the street. Actually seeing a picture of it, but then seeing the thing in person driving down the street, you're like, fuck me, that looks sexy as fuck.
Right, next up on the pros list, for me, it's got to be the performance of this thing. I really wasn't expecting much, which I may have mentioned, but what it does really well, and yeah, this is great. It's something that I enjoy using, I will continue to enjoy using, and I tell you, if I was looking at this tank online, I would never have bought it based on the specs. The 1.5 and 1.8 coils, I usually build around 0.15 and 0.18, you know, so what are we doing here? But actually, I was, yeah, really impressed.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Next up for me has got to be that coil changing system. I mean, it's so simple and easy. It's a nice thing for who this tank is marketed for. New people, new to vape, or not necessarily new to vaping, but transitioning from the smaller ego type things up to sort of like your first big boy tank, as it were. Yeah, having that sort of easy coil change system where you don't have to fuck about getting your juice out or decanting into an empty bottle or getting it everywhere. It's just nice, in, out, job done.
Yeah, so with the coil change, yeah, you compare this to the Cleto, which is a nightmare because to take that coil out, and it's kind of the same design in here. The coil is the structural thing, you know, it goes from the base up, you know, in the 510 up to the top, and that's what holds the glass together, you know, very much like the Cleto. But where they've done it with this, you can actually just take the coil out and leave the juice in the cup and just whack a new coil in, as you saw us do. That's just really good design. Right, which brings us nicely into the last pro, which is going to be that leak-free design. And yeah, for a change, it really is. You know, I was a bit worried with the gurgling, thinking that was going to lead to leaking and continuous gurgling and spitting, but no. I've had one spit from this little hot pop, and that was during the heat test where we were like vaping the shit out of it, and that was it. Once during that heat test I had a little bit, and the rest of the time now it's just settled down back to normal. And again, no leaking. I've carried this about loose in my bag, no leaking, and that is good. You know, even some of the big tanks that are really reliable that I use all the time, you know that if you put them in your bag without shutting the airflow and stuff off, put them in a bit of kitchen paper, you know you're going to have a bag full of e-juice, whereas this didn't, which is really good.
Okay guys, that kind of brings us to the end of this hopefully mini review by the time I've edited it for you. I really do.
Only 4 hours in filming, we did really well.
It wasn't. Shit. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoy what you're seeing, and if you do, please don't hesitate to drop that like and do the whole subscribe thing. It helps us out a lot. Also, follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, because we are quite
chatty. And also do give our buddies at New World Vaping a shout. You know, check out their website, newworldvaping.com. And also check out New World Vaping UK on Facebook. But for now, guys, thanks for watching Smog Vlog. From Aspire, you know, we're not reviewing the NASA space satellite aircraft thing. No, so waffling too much. Jesus Christ.
The 1.8 ohm wattage is around about 12 to 14 watts. The 1.8 ohm is designed to be used at a wattage of about 14 to 16.
12 to 16.
12 to 16 and 14 to 22.
Yeah.
The 1.8 ohm is designed to be used around the 12 to 14 watt mark.
No.
The 1.8 ohm?
Yes.
The 1.8 ohm is designed to be used around the 12 to 14 watt mark.
No.
The 1.8 ohm is designed to be used around the 12
to 16.
What did I say?
14 every time.
Once more.
With feeling.
God, yes.
For the amount of vapour you get and you know the power it's sort of running at, you get really good flavour. You certainly can get better flavour from bigger tanks that kick more and where it's chucking tons of clouds. But relatively speaking, this has very good flavour and yeah.
You really like it?
I do.
You're just chucking an awesome there as well. Okay, guys, very quickly now, we're just going to dive back down and show you a quick chore.
We'll show you one of them. Afterwards, we'll show you a core change.
You've never seen one of them before?
No.
I can guarantee it. Hold on to your hats.
Oh, sorry, dude. Sorry. Have we?
Okay, guys, we've reached that special stage in the show whereby we sum up by way of. That's wrong. This is Council of Faith all over again.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have the fucking time for an argument. I'm sorry.
Good.
I'm sorry. Okay, so
Good. That's right. Keep going.
actually seeing a picture of it, but then seeing the thing in person driving down the street, you're like, fuck me, that looks sexy as fuck. Well, I'm not gonna fuck you.
No.
You might be holding it, but
No, I was just wondering if that was.
all right.
Runs from 1.2 to 1.4. Wait, 14 what? No, wait.
Fuck off.
Sorry, you won't have to say that again, all review.
Ever again.
Until the next thing. And just whack a new coil in, as you saw us do. That's just really good design. Yeah. It's good, it's good. Yeah, look, it's good. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
Hi.